Hey you, and welcome to lesson number 7. Today we are going to talk about the present perfect. A lot of you get confused by the present perfect and can differentiate between the present perfect and the past simple. Today I'll teach you how to tell when the sentence is perfect or not. And we will also talk about tag questions. So let's get to it. Today we are going to talk about the present perfect. Now, first of all, let's see, how do we form the present perfect? We basically use have or has, depending on the subject, and then we use the participle verb, or third form of the verb, okay? Now, why do we use a present perfect? We use a present perfect for something that started, not this one. Sorry, let me change the tool. Okay, we use a present perfect for something that started in the past and continues in the present. Okay, so something started in the past and continues to the now. We use a present perfect. Let's take a look at these examples. They've been married for nearly 50 years. That means 50 years ago they got married and they are still married until today. So they've been married for nearly 50 years. She has lived in Liverpool all her life. She has lived in Liverpool all her life. She is still in Liverpool until today, and her past life, it's all been in Liverpool. So, present perfect. Okay, now we use a present perfect also when we're talking about experience in the about our experiences from the past up to the present, okay? Let's see. I have seen this film before. I have seen this film before. I've played the guitar ever since I was a teenager. He has written 3 books and he is working on another one. So life experiences, we normally use the present perfect with. We often use adverb, wrong tool. We often use the adverb ever to talk about experiences up to the moment. Okay, so if we say ever, that means something started in the past and is still continuing up to now. All right, so let's see. My last birthday was the worst day I have ever had. It means my whole life until today, that was the worst day I've ever had. We use it for something that happened in the past, but it is important in the present. Something that happened in the past, but it's relevant or it's important to the present time. Like, I can't get in the house, I've lost my key. I can't get in the house, I have lost my key. Teresa isn't at home. I think she's gone shopping. Teresa isn't at home. It is gone shopping. All right, let's take a look. Have been and has been, when someone has gone to a place and returned. Okay. Let's take a time out and think about this, about what we covered for a minute. Most students hate the present perfect because it confuses them. When do we use it properly? Okay, some students say, do we use it in the present, or do we use it in the past, or do we use it in the past that is still until now, is something still happening until now, or do we use it for experiences, or we use it with ever, or we use it for something in the past that is still important in the present? I mean, I don't blame you, okay? Because it is a bit confusing. So let's take a look at it in a different light. Okay, so let me make this as easy as possible for you. The present perfect, we use it for something that started and hasn't ended, true, okay? But we use it mainly if we don't have a time It happened sometimes in the past and we don't know when. It's not specified. So when do we use the present perfect? We use the present perfect for something that we know had happened in the past, but it is unspecified when it happened. We don't know when. So let's take a look at all these examples again, okay? And base it on this one interpretation, or base it on this one definition. Something happened sometimes in the past and we don't know when. We are not given a time about this, when it happened. We use the present perfect. We also, there are signal words. If we see any of those signal words, we always use the perfect tense, whether it's present or past. But those signal words indicate that this sentence is a perfect sentence. Let's take a look. First example, they've been married for nearly 50 years, okay? You know that they've been married for nearly 50 years, but you don't know when they've gotten married, okay? They might have been married for 51 years, they might be married for 49 years, they might be married for exactly 50 years. You don't know when exactly. The time is not definite. It's nearly, okay? It's an approximate. So with nearly, because you don't have a definite time, that means it's present perfect. She has lived in Liverpool all her life. Now, this one, she has lived in Liverpool all her life, but she is not dead yet, okay? So she is not dead. She is still alive. She could move to a different country and she could relocate. So this is an action that started in the past and hasn't ended yet, okay? This is a signal word or a keyword for a present perfect, or her life, or today, or this week, or this month. If we see any of those in a sentence, we know that this means present perfect. Because her life is not over, that's why we use the present perfect. Or if I say, I've been to the gym 3 times this week, why did I use the present perfect? Because the week is not over. The week is still ongoing. I might go to the gym 1 or 2 or twice more before the week ends. If I say, I've been to this restaurant 3 times this month, that means present perfect, because the month is not over. I could go to that restaurant even more times until the month is up, okay? So these are signal words. If something hasn't ended yet, so there is a chance of you doing more, that means we use the present perfect. If the time is unspecified, we don't know when it happened, then we also use the present perfect, okay? So it's simple as that. Uncompleted actions or unspecified time. See, piece of cake. Let's take a look at the next example. I've seen that film before. I've seen that film before. Did I say when? I didn't say when. So the time is unknown. Present perfect. I've played the guitar ever since I was a teenager. I played the guitar ever since I was a teenager. Did I say when was I a teenager? Or what year? You know, teenagers from 13 to 19. Did I say when? Did I start, or how long, or, you know, it's unspecified time. He has written 3 books and he's working on the 4th one. Okay, so he's written 3 books and he's working on the 4th one. This is uncompleted action. He's still alive. He's working on a 4th book. Okay, he hasn't finished it. He might not finish it. So maybe he is gonna die and he will never finish the 4th book. Then we will use, he wrote, we will use the past simple because we know he's dead. We will say he wrote 3 books in his lifetime. Or if he finished the 4th book, we will say he wrote 4 books in his lifetime. But here, it is still an open, unfinished action, which is his life. He's written 3 books. He's working on the 4th book. Maybe he'll write 3 or 4 more books before he pass away. So it is unfinished, present perfect. Okay, my last birthday was the worst day I have ever had. Here is, we have a signal word or our signal here is ever. With ever, we use the perfect tense. I can't get in the house. I've lost my keys. Again, I didn't say when I lost my keys. If I knew when I lost my keys, like if I said I can't get in the house, I lost my keys yesterday, then I'm going to use the past simple because I know when I lost my keys. But I don't know when I lost my keys, so I'm going to use the present perfect. If the time is unknown or unspecified, use the present perfect. If it's an unfinished action, like your life or your day or your week or the year, use the present perfect, okay? If there are keywords like ever or since or for and other keywords that are going to cover later on today, use the perfect tense, okay? So it's simple as that. Okay, so let's take a look at these two, have been and have gone. When do we use have been and when do we use have gone? We use have been if we're talking about a place that you visited, okay? So for example, have you been, where have you been? I've just been out to the supermarket, okay? Or you can say, I've been to England many times. Or you can say, I've never been to Italy, okay? So been, I have been to, or I haven't been to, that is for a place that you have visited or a place that you haven't visited. Now, if I'm talking, okay, so let's take a look at these examples first. Have you ever been to San Francisco? No, but I've been to Los Angeles. So have you ever been? It means, were you there? I've been to, it means I was in Los Angeles. Or I visited Los Angeles. Now, if you use gone, has gone, this is different. That means you've been to a place but haven't come yet. You haven't returned. You're still there. Okay, like for example, where is Maria? I haven't seen her for weeks. She's gone to Paris for a week. She'll be back tomorrow. So if you say I've been to, it means you went and you came back. But if you say she's gone or he's gone, that means you went and you haven't come back. All right? And if you just left, you say gone. For example, if you say, like, for example, where is Mark? Mark is gone. It means he's just gone. All right. Now let's take a look with the keywords I've been telling you about, the signals. If you see those, that means it is a perfect sentence. All right. So present perfect with time adverbials. What is a time adverbials? Like recently, just, only, or just only, or only just. Okay, so recently, just, and only just. If you see those, that means it's a perfect tense. It's a perfect sentence. Like for example, scientists have recently discovered a new breed of monkeys. We have just got back from our holiday. So recently, just, and only just. We use the present perfect. If we have so far, until now, up to now, ever, yet, we always use the present perfect. For example, have you ever seen a ghost? Where have you been up to now? Have you finished your homework yet? No, so far I've only done my history. So those are all with time adverbials, we always use the present perfect or the perfect tense. Now, with since and for, also we use the perfect tense. Now, what is the difference between since and for? For is for a period of time from start to end. We use for. Like, for example, you can say, I've been waiting for 20 minutes. I've been waiting for 20 minutes. Or she's been here for 3 days. For 3 days. It means that's the time period from start to finish is 3 days. Now, since is a little bit different. Now, when do we use since? Since is to indicate a point at which an action has started. Okay? to indicate that point that the action has started. Like for example, since 9 a.m. It means it started at that time. It started at 9 a.m. Or since January, or since Monday, since 1957, since the beginning of time, okay? So since is to talk about one point of the beginning of the action, one point, okay? It started at this point, so it's since. But for is to talk about a period of time from start to end. Okay, so don't get them confused. Okay, be careful. We do not use the present perfect with adverbial which refer to finished past time. What? Okay, so those are the adverbials, the time adverbials that indicate finished actions are used with the past simple. That's why a lot of students get the past simple confused with the present perfect. Okay, now what are those? Yesterday, last week, any month, year, date in the past, any time in the past is past simple. When I was younger, ago, those are all indications, those are all signals that the sentence we're dealing with is past simple. So when we have yesterday, 3 weeks ago, in 1957, when I was younger, last night, those all means the action is completed, therefore we give it the past simple. Okay, that's why I said when we have we have an unspecified time, we always use the present perfect. But if we have a specified time, automatically that will become past simple. All right, so that is the main difference. We can use the present perfect with adverbial time clause, which refer to something, a time that's not yet finished, like today, this week, this year, you know, ongoing, my life, and so on. Okay, so let's take a look at ever and never. Ever is used in negative sentences to express doubt and to ask questions. For example, don't ever talk to me like that. Or if you ever see him, tell him he still owes me money. It means if you see him at any time, tell him that, you know, he needs to pay me back my money. Have you ever heard of Flint Westwood? Have you ever heard of Flint Westwood? This is a question. It means, do you know who this guy is? All right, now, never and ever have similar meanings, but they're used in they're used differently. How so? Never, it means at no time. It never happened. At no point in time. It's a negative form, used in affirmative construction to avoid double negative. Okay, so you use in positive sentences to avoid double negative. Ever means at any time, and not usually used in affirmative sentences. Let's take a look. I never want to see this boy in your bedroom again. I never want to see this boy in your bedroom again. So this is a positive sentence, affirmative sentence. Okay, we use never, so we wouldn't use a double negative. So I never want to see this boy in your bedroom again. I mean, I don't want it to happen at any point in the future. At no time in the future. I don't ever want to see this boy in your bedroom again. Now here, it means the same thing, but it's a negative sentence. It's not an affirmative or a positive sentence. It's a negative. I don't ever want to see this boy in your room again. I never want to see this boy in your room again. Positive. I don't ever. Negative. Okay. I don't want to see this boy in your bedroom in the future. That's the meaning for both sentences. He has never seen a nose so big. He has never seen a nose so big. Positive sentence. Now, he hasn't ever seen a nose so big. Negative sentence, but we used ever with it. So that means at no point in time in his life did he see a nose as big as this one. All right. Now let's take a look at this suffix. What is a suffix? Suffix It means word endings, the last letters in a word. It's called a suffix. Right? Let's take a look. If EER, if the suffix is EER, or if the words end in EER, that means engage in something or associated with something, like auctioneer, volunteer, engineer, profiteer, pioneer. You know, it means it's associated with, or it means that it is part of something or engaged in that something. Now, if it's ER, the suffix is ER, that means someone who is performing or doing the action. It means this is the person who is doing this action, like helper, teacher, preacher, dancer, player. You know, teacher teaches, the dancer dances, the player plays. So he does that action. ER, it means the person is doing that action. ION. ION, it means the action or the process of that action. Like, for example, celebration. Celebrate, the verb is celebrate, is, you know, party, celebrate. Celebration, it means that action. Opinion, decision, revision. So ION, it means the action or process of. So the action of celebrating is celebration. The action of deciding is decision. The action of, you know, forming and revising is revision, and so on. Now, ITY, meaning the state or condition of something. Okay, like for example, probability, possibility, equality, abnormality, civility. ITY, it means the state of that word, or the condition of that. MENT, it means the action or result of, like movement, retirement, improvement, establishment, abandonment, the action or the result of. Ness, it means a state or quality, like awareness, kindness, darkness, loneliness, fondness. OR, it means the person who is doing that something, just like ER. So some adjectives take ER, some take OR. So, for example, distributor, investigator, actor, translator, conductor, and so on. SION is similar to ION, which is meaning, which is a state or being, like depression, confusion, tension, compulsion, and SHIP, ship. It means a position held, like ownership, courtship, internship, scholarship, a position held. And finally, TH is state or quality. State or quality, like strength, depth, warmth, and so on. Okay, so adjectives and suffixes. Adjectives and suffixes. If we have an adjective that ends with ABLE or IBLE, it means capable of being, or it means it can be done. All right, like for example, preventable means it can be prevented. Adaptable, it can be adapted. Predictable, it can be predicted. Credible, or you can say the one of the most popular ones is like available or comparable. So anything ends with IBLE or BLE, that means is doable. Doable, it's another one. All right, AL. When you have an adjective ending with an AL, that means pertaining to. Okay, for example, natural, criminal, seasonal, theatrical. It means pertaining to theater pertaining to nature, pertaining to crime, pertaining to season. Okay, ant, it means inclined to or tending to. We use ant, like for example, vigilant, defiant, brilliant, reliant. ARY is relating to. ARY is relating to, like budgetary, planetary, military, honorary. Full, it means full of, like grateful, beautiful, wonderful, fanciful, full of. IC, if the adjective ends with IC, it means relating to. For example, iconic, organic, heroic, poetic. If it ends with IOUS or OUS, it means having the quality of, or the qualities of. Like for example, gracious, cautious, humorous, fabulous. Now, if it ends with IVE, it means the nature of, like creative, expensive, expressive, suggestive, and so on. If the suffix of the adjective is less, that means without something. Okay, so it's the opposite of full. Full, it means it's, what do we say? It's full of something, and less, it means without. Like hopeless, faithless, faultless, fearless, restless, and so on. Now, if it ends with a Y, if the suffix is a Y, that meaning made up or characterized by. Okay, such as simply or peacefully, and so on. Okay, now let's take a look at question tags. What are question tags? Question tags are questions that we use the auxiliary and the subject pronoun at the end of the sentence for confirmation to make a question. All right, let's take a look. You haven't seen this film, have you? Okay, so notice the auxiliary here is haven't, and in the question tag is have. We always use the opposite. If you see you've seen this film, haven't you? Or if you say you haven't seen this film, have you? So it is always the opposite. He can't drive, can he? So we always use the same auxiliary in the sentence and we make it the opposite, whether it's negative or positive. Okay, we can add question tags to ask for confirmation. And question tags are more common in speaking than in writing. We use question tags when we expect the listener to agree with our statement, with whatever we're saying. You think he agreed. Like, for example, you were late, weren't you? Yes, I was. She's a doctor, isn't she? Yesterday was so much fun, wasn't it? If the statement is negative, we use a positive question tag, like, he isn't here, is he? The trains are never on time, are they? Now, the formation of a question tag is, if there is an auxiliary verb in the statement, we use it to form a question tag, but we flip it to the opposite. If it was negative, we make it positive. I don't need to finish this today, do I? James is working on that, isn't he? Your parents have retired, haven't they? Or your parents haven't retired, have they? And so on. Okay, so if the verb in the statement is a verb to be, we need to use a verb to be in the question tag, like the bus stops over there, isn't it? None of those customers were happy, were they? Now, if the verb in the statement is a modal verb, we use a modal verb to make the question tag. Like, they could hear me, couldn't they? You won't tell anyone, will you? And so on. Okay, so this will be it for today's lesson. Don't skip the quiz, and I'll see you next lesson. Have a good one.